This is day 2 of me trying to write an onset detection algorithm. The last moment I left off, I had to make a decision. If I wanna make my own event system in which there are just events that are not added to the MIDI buffer and thus stay in the plugin, which would have made a lot of things easier because it's just not as abstract as MIDI Sysex messages. But on the other hand, if I could figure out Sysex messages, that would be very cool because then I could make plugins that can interact with upcoming plugins and I could get very modular and fun. So yeah, I decided to go for the Sysex approach and I'm not quite done yet, but there is some progress that I want to show you now. My entire send Sysex function now just consists of one single function call, which is adding the event coming out of a mysterious Sysex object that says medify 420. And then later in the code that actually interprets the Sysex message, I am reading it and finding out that my identifier is 420 with this static decode method that takes these arguments, and then I'm doing the thing and it works. So what is this Sysex object? It is a new class that I started to write and it returns an information with data and size, because that is the stuff you are working with when you use Juice Sysex implementation. This Sysex object has an array of 128 bytes and a length, because you don't always use all of the bytes. The encode function looks like this, and it was actually fully given to me by ChatGPT. I really have to give them that. That was like, it worked immediately. And that's not often the case when you ask ChatGPT for code. That was a very lucky encounter. And then I used GitHub Copilot to create the decode function, which also immediately worked. So these AIs have definitely seen this before. And I made this little medify function so that it's a little bit neater to make a Sysex message. And yeah, that works, but there is something in my to-do list. This Sysex ID table, which says that you can avoid other developers interpreting your messages by letting your message start with these beginnings. They can be very different. Now the problem is, this is like machine code, if I get this right. Well, I am using an integer as identifier that is then being converted to machine code by the encoder. And that's the part that I don't understand yet. Like, how do I make sure that it doesn't start with these bytes and then it uses my identifier? Yeah. Let's see if I can figure that out.